After using the Pixel 9 Pro XL for the past few weeks, I can honestly say that Google has finally done it. They finally have made a phone that gives you the most iPhone-like experience to Android users, which I think is also going to make it a lot easier for any iOS users to switch over to Android. And before, it was already very similar with the operating system and kind of the Google Pixel launcher, as well as Material U and all of that. But this year, they actually made the design very similar to that of the iPhone, which again, I feel like for all of the iOS and iPhone users, it'll be a lot easier to switch over to Pixel now because of that. And I think that's a great thing. Starting off with the design, like I mentioned, all of the edges here are very similar to that of the iPhone. You get the flat edges, you get the flat back, and you just have one of the iPhone design features that started off with the iPhone 5 and the 5S. And even though that is an older design, I think we can all agree that the flat edges is definitely one of the better designs that came from iPhone, because it makes the phone easier to use, it makes it easier to hold, easier to one hand. Even something like this that's an XL, I can use it with one hand and easily reach all of the sides without it ever falling because the edges are flat. So it's a lot less slippery. It can rest in your pinky finger a lot easier as well. And because of that, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is actually my favorite one, even when I compared it to the S24 Ultra in terms of daily use and having to carry it with me everywhere. And then also, just like the iPhone, you get multiple color options that are actually very similar. Now, I'm a very boring person, so all of mine are going to be white accessories, just like my iPhone 15 Pro as well as the 9 Pro XL. I went with the white color options, and I honestly like the way they look. But with the 16 Pro Max, I went with the natural titanium, which is actually very similar to the hazel that you can get from the 9 Pro XL. So again, even there with the color options, Google has made the color options very similar that you would get with the titanium iPhone, except obviously on this, it's not titanium. They even went with polished metal edges, which honestly I like. They're a little bit more slippery, but I do like it. Makes the phone almost feel a little bit more premium rather than being titanium. The phone itself also is a little bit lighter than the iPhone in the hand feel. Whenever you're carrying it around, whenever you have to rest it on your pinky finger, it feels a lot more light. It feels easier to use, like I said, and gives you less carpal tunnel if you're someone that does use that pinky finger to rest it. And when it does come to the camera bump design, Google definitely switched it up with the 9 Pro XL. They got rid of the kind of curved edges around the side. I think that has to do with having flat edges now, and because of that, they went with this. This is a very thick camera bump on the 9 Pro XL, but something that they actually did right with is, for all of us that type on the desk, when this is set down, it actually doesn't really teeter-totter. It doesn't really move like an iPhone would with having the camera in the upper left corner. So because of that, if you are someone that types on your keyboard while it is on your desk and you don't have a case on your phone, because if you have a case, then it's a moot point, but if you don't use a case like myself, it does make it easier to type. And then within the camera, you actually get a lot of the same exact camera features that you would on an iPhone. You have that same 3-camera system setup. You have a telephoto lens, you have an ultra wide lens, and then you get the gimmick, which on the iPhone is a LiDAR sensor, and on the Pixel, it's going to be a thermometer, which honestly, I don't even really think I'm ever going to use a thermometer. It's not 2020 anymore. I'm not taking my body temperature. I have watches that do that for me. So because of that, I don't really see how useful this feature can be for myself. It's actually very similar to the LiDAR sensor on the iPhone, where I'm not really going to be doing any like 3D mockups, any 3D rendering, but at least on the iPhone, the LiDAR sensor does help with some of the camera features, such as being better for portrait photography as well as low light photography. And when it comes to the OS, Google is also the most iOS-like. It doesn't really offer that much customizability. So for those Android users and Android lovers out there that love to customize your phone, definitely don't go with the Google Pixel, especially if you're already thinking of customizing your home screen, changing the icons, making custom widgets for it. All of that is not really going to work that great on a Pixel phone. And there's other features that I'll talk about later that actually kind of hold you back from really customizing it to the max. But if you're someone that just likes a simple design, something that will do everything for you, again, a lot of the iOS users will be coming over without that much customizability. Everything is very similar on the Pixel 9 Pro. With Material U, you can customize your icons just a little bit by tweaking it and matching your wallpaper, just like you can now with the new iOS. And if you want to change all of your icons, you will have to go through the shortcut route just again like you would with iOS. It's not very customizable and it is a little bit more limiting, but luckily if you are someone that uses Spotlight a lot on the Apple phones, you also do get a very similar feature on Google. With the Google search bar or a swipe action, you actually bring up that search bar kind of like Spotlight so that you can search through your apps, you can search through the Play Store or Google something just straight from a swipe. You don't have to go into the app and have to research it there. I really like this feature because I like to keep my home screen a little bit more minimal. I don't like to have all my apps out of the app drawer. I'd rather have everything put away rather than having to look for it on any one of my home screen tabs. For me, it's a lot easier to just use Spotlight. I do the same thing on iPhones. I do the same thing on any of my Android phones. I do the same thing on Mac as well as my work Mac. It's something that's very simple and saves you just a little bit of time. And then if you're also someone that's a huge fan of ecosystems, Google definitely has you covered there as well. They have smart home devices. They also offer tablets. They offer headphones, wearables, laptops if you count the Windows machines. You can get TV streamers, cloud storage, fitness apps, and all of these other apps for health tracking as well. You can take a lot of the Apple features and then you can match it one-to-one to its Google counterpart that's also offered in the Google ecosystem. I personally tried the Google Pixel Watch 3. My review is out already as well. I actually returned it because I didn't really like the calendar feature. I talk more about it in depth in my Google Pixel 3 watch review, so make sure you guys check it out. It's going to be up here in a link up here in the corner. Make sure you guys check that out. And if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you guys give it a like. It really does help out this channel a lot. And make sure you guys get subscribed as well to watch future Pixel 9 Pro XL content, as well as for my 16 Pro Max that I just purchased. I will have another review, long-term reviews, kind of comparing them. These are definitely two of the biggest players, and because the OS is very similar, these are going to be very competitive against one another. And unfortunately, Google didn't only copy the good things from Apple, they also copied over all of the annoyances. And the main one for me is definitely going to be the auto dimming and the overheating issue. Both of those are pretty much the same. They're kind of correlated with one another. Every time I'm using my phone on full brightness for 30 minutes, which I always use full brightness, if you're buying a phone where a company is boasting about how bright it can get, use it at full brightness. But whenever I'm using the Pixel 9 Pro at full brightness, just like an iPhone, after 30 minutes, it starts to auto dim, it starts to overheat. If you're not using a case like myself, you can definitely feel it. If you use a case, you likely won't really feel it, but it'll auto dim, which is really annoying, especially again for a company that really boasts all of the nits that it can go up to, all of the features, the high processor, the larger RAM, and then when you start using it, it actually starts pulling back on those features because it gets a little too hot. And Google is one of the companies that I'm not really happy with how they go about all of their features, because they do kind of say that they have all of these features like full resolution screen, super high brightness, everything else that really is fully integrated or they talk about a lot in their launch video. But then when it comes to their phones, it's not at full resolution. Some of them don't even come with the full refresh rate, even though they extend it up to 120 Hertz. The auto brightness is always auto dimming it lower. You don't really get offered that full brightness. So if you're a consumer, I am going to be making a full tips and tricks if you're switching over to Google on all the settings that you need to change if this is your first Google phone, because a lot of them are off by default when it is a brand new phone. And Google will warn you that if you turn on a lot of those features, that you will lose a little bit of the battery life, which again, to me, if a company is promoting that feature as one of the main driving points or selling points of the phone, then you should turn it on. And if the battery life sucks, that just means the battery life sucks on the phone. To me, that is something that isn't that great here on the 9 Pro XL. As someone that's coming from the S24 Ultra, I traded that one in for the 9 Pro XL. The S24 Ultra honestly took me through the whole day and still lasted or ended with 30 to 40% battery life. The Pixel 9 Pro XL in the past few weeks ends closer to 15 to 20%. There's been a couple of nights where I actually had to charge it, or else it would have ran out and died on me before I even had the chance to charge it. And Google also offers another couple of features on the home screen that you can use that honestly aren't really that great. For me, the at a glance feature is something that I've tried to turn off, but even after you go into the settings, you turn off at a glance, you still are left with some of that information there. And this is something that you just cannot remove from your first tab of the home screen. You also get a search bar bar down at the bottom, the Google search bar, which again can be used for part of Spotlight or a Spotlight-like feature down at the bottom. But again, it's something that you can't remove if you wanted to remove it. That's where the customization ends with the Google Pixel phones. Apple also has a search button in the home screen, but at least it's a lot smaller and it does not take up icon space, which the Google Pixel does. You lose 2 rows of icons or widgets that you could have put on the home screen instead of having these other widgets instead. With all that said though, I do still think that the 9 Pro and the 9 Pro XL are the most iOS-like phones out there. The design is very similar to iPhone, so you still get that flat corner design, as well as having the OS that's very similar to iOS. You don't really get that much customization. If you're someone that's looking to customize your phone to the max, you're looking to get away from Apple because of that, because you want to customize your home screen, you want to customize your apps, the icons, the widgets, all of that, definitely go with Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. That's a phone that's going to allow you to get all those customizations. It has great battery life, a great screen, and again, all that customization. I actually just recently made a video on how to customize your S24 Ultra for less than $10 and get all of the premium features. So make sure you guys check out that video. It's going to be linked up here in the corner. That's where I go through all of the customizations through K-Widget, getting custom icons as well through the Play Store, and being able to do that all on board within the Samsung One UI rather than having to go through a third-party launcher. But for those of you guys that do live a simple life and don't really customize it that much, or you just really like the Google Pixel camera, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is definitely one of the better phones out there. To me, it's definitely my top Android choice because I do like the Pixel launcher, I do like the Google Pixel camera, and this year they actually had really great trade-in values. I traded in my S24 Ultra for the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and I walked out of Best Buy with a $200 gift card, only having paid the taxes on the 9 Pro XL. And if you did miss out on those trade-in deals when the Pixel 9 Pro launched, just wait. There's always a lot of deals that come through the Google. It's very well known that through Q4, Google actually offers really great trade-in deals for all of their phones. So just be patient and I'm sure you'll get a great Google phone at a great price. I also couldn't get through all of the features of the Google 9 Pro XL in this video. So make sure you guys get subscribed to watch all of my future videos on the 9 Pro XL. And let me know down in the comments, what is a question that you guys have about the 9 Pro XL? What is something you guys want to know if I compare both of these phones together? Let me know down there in the comments. Again, thank you guys for watching my video. Click here to watch another one of my videos, and I will catch you guys in the next one.